business leaders who are here, ministers, deputy ministers, and all colleagues, officials in government. I'd like to extend a hearty word of welcome to you all, and leaders in state-owned enterprises. I'm glad to see that you are here. And this is our very first meeting in the 7th administration, properly named the Government of National Unity. In case you didn't know, first meeting with our business colleagues to extend the partnership that we have. We intend to reaffirm our commitment through holding this meeting to what I would call a very dynamic partnership between government and business, which is aimed at fostering our country's economic growth as well as societal advancement. So our agenda today focuses on critical areas that are aimed at shaping our country's future with regard to areas that we've been working on: energy, transport and logistics, crime and corruption, as well as employment. We decided that we would want to focus on those issues, and we might well today say we want to add another, but depends on our inclination to do so. And our discussions today are particularly significant following the insights from the recent opening of Parliament, where we celebrated our collaborative achievements as a nation, as it were, and plotted our path forward. And this partnership mirrors the unity and collective purpose of the Government of National Unity, drawing on diverse strengths to build a prosperous and equitable South Africa. And I was saying to Adrian that almost on a daily basis, one continues to see the correctness of having opted for the scenario that is playing itself out now in the Government of National Unity, whereas others would have wished us ill. We are determined then, and we continue to want this structure we've put together of a government to succeed. And out of it, we just really scaling heights and continue scaling heights of good collaboration, good working together. We've just come out of a joint cabinet committee session which had all the ministers and deputy ministers, and I should never be heard to reveal what is discussed in cabinet meetings, because I took an oath to that effect. But just the ambience and the energy that's there and the way we relate to each other just talks volumes about this collective effort that we as South Africans have come to know as our DNA. Collaboration, working together. And today, as we meet once again, is a clear representation of that as well. So I'm particularly pleased that we are meeting, particularly in the wake of what we have done in government, parliament level, setting up a new executive. And this just becomes another pillar that strengthens our collaborative effort as a nation. Since our last gathering, we have made quite a lot of progress across all the sectors we identified, reflecting joint efforts and mutual dedication to what we had set ourselves to do. And today we convene to evaluate our successes, but also to address the considerable challenges that persist. These demand undivided attention and in many ways immediate action as well. In the energy sector, we are marking more than 130 days without load shedding, although that needs to be tempered by the effusive messages we keep getting from the Minister of Electricity and Energy, who says, you know, don't get too excited, but we are excited that we are on 130 days, and he keeps, you know, trying to check us and say there are still challenges ahead. And this is largely thanks to the proactive interventions that we have recorded through NECOM and our comprehensive energy action plan, which we all collaborated in putting together. The operational success of Kusile Unit 5 and the anticipated addition of Medupi Unit 4 and Kusile Unit 6 will significantly boost our grid capacity. But despite this improvement in generation, we all know that we face challenges in the grid capacity, which is crucial for the success of upcoming bid windows. And that is something that we need to be alive to and be aware that much as we are making great success, as the Minister says, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. We need to expedite, yes, private sector participation in expanding our transmission network to secure the necessary capacity for our renewable energy projects. And of course, the Minister started the whole process of saying, how are we going to fund this? And there are quite a number of ideas that are already coming to the fore. Our transport and logistics, on transport and logistics rather, the enactment of the Economic Regulation of Transport Act marks a significant step towards reforming our freight logistics sector. However, we do need to give urgent attention to improving efficiencies in rail and port operations. And I'm sure we will talk about that and see how those gaps are closed. This is vital for, as we all know, economic growth, and for ensuring that our mining, agricultural, and manufacturing industries can competitively export their products. We are deeply concerned that performance on the critical corridors remains below the targets that we were able to set as Transnet in terms of our recovery plan. The facilitation or finalization of the network statement, which will provide open access to private rail operators, and the ongoing efforts to secure robust security solutions on key corridors are critical to improving our logistics infrastructure and promoting competition. On crime and corruption, with the NPA Amendment Act now being our law, we are enhancing our prosecutorial capabilities, and the establishment of the NPA Digital Evidence Unit is a pivotal step towards bolstering our efforts in combating complex financial crimes. In similar fashion, ongoing collaboration between the Hawks and the private sector to enhance the investigative capabilities to tackle crimes such as money laundering cases is promising. We need to accelerate the work, and we must prioritize resource mobilization to strengthen our fight against corruption and crime more comprehensively. And this is what South Africans want to see. And there's another area which we all agreed we should tackle, which is employment and skills. Collaborative initiatives are addressing the country's critical digital skills gaps and supporting digital pilot projects through strategic funding from government and the private sector. Now, while this progress is to be welcomed, we must acknowledge that we have not yet done enough to extend our collaboration in the area of employment. And the figures that came out today just are testimony to the challenge that we face on employment. And this is where all of us sitting here as partners, we need to focus much more attention on. Particularly as the private sector, we need to be coming forward with innovative ideas of how we can address this problem. Not saying that the proposals that have been put on the table and canvassed in our few last meetings are not innovative enough, but we need to do more. And we need to use the experience we have, the experience that we've gained in other focal areas to make this a substantial work, part of our joint work. And this is the area that South Africans want to see our collaborative efforts bearing fruit. And the partnership between government and business on these areas is important not only to address critical challenges, but also to build confidence in the prospects for our economic recovery. Adrian and I were sharing earlier that there's renewed confidence on the rise in the country, and we need to capitalize on that to enable us to address other problems that our country faces. We therefore commend the work that has been done to communicate the work of the partnership. Now, while we have publicized the progress that has been made, we have not sought to conceal the extent of the challenges that we face. We have been able to work together to ensure that we have a coherent message, and that we should also exercise discipline and responsibility in communication. We've touched on this in the past, and I think this is panning out to be a successful joint effort on our part. And it has been suggested that an engagement between government and over 130 CEOs that form part of this collaboration. I heard earlier today that it might well be up to 150. That engagement should take place with the President in attendance, and I'm very keen for that. I really welcome this initiative, and one really needs to commend the CEOs of our country for having raised their hands to support the processes of reform and transformation that are taking place in our country. So I'm rather glad that we are meeting as we are, and as we move forward with this partnership, we do need to intensify our work. There are some places where there may be gaps and maybe slacking, maybe less than expected outcomes. And those are areas that we need to pay more attention to. So today's discussions will set the course for our actions over the next month, ensuring that we both meet and exceed our collective goals. And let us utilize this really fantastic place that we have reached now as a nation, where there is enthusiasm and there's confidence and there's hope for a better future. Let us do that, and As we continue on this journey, we should do so with determination and as well as a collaborative spirit, and always focusing on there is no problem without a solution. Because if we approach what we do in that way, indeed we will seek the solutions, as we have now. When we started, our country was in a very black and dark mood, but through the work that we've been doing, we've been able to help lift that mood, and even other efforts that have been taking place, even in the political sphere, have contributed a great deal to that. And so it now behoves on us to speed up that process. And it is for this reason that I'm looking very much forward to our discussions as we proceed into the 7th administration. So I want to hand over to Adrian Go,